Hello? 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 Welcome to London's craziest gangster with me, Mr. Fish, keeper of the Dead Man Bible. You know the Dead Man by all the rules, start from toss them, wash them away. Crash! Today, I'm going to tribute this podcast today to Mrs. North, Daniel North and his brother and the family. I'm going to treat it because one thing I noticed about today at the gathering, and what a beautiful send-off they gave Mrs. North today. Pat, everyone's happy. Brilliant send-off, brilliant, and it's still ongoing now as I speak. And that's a testament to her and her family. But one thing, the reason I decided to do that, because one thing I've noticed, some of the people were very hurt and upset and traumatized. So this podcast, I'm going to try and tell, or I'm going to try and help you, help us understand death and how death should be used and treated to help you move on. The first thing I would like to say, is death is a funny thing. And it can come at any time, man. Any time. Some people die in the womb. Some people die after just coming out of the womb. Some people live for 100 years. Some people live for 10 years. It can come at any time. But what I really want to say is when it comes. I know some deaths can be more traumatizing and more anguishing than others, but hey, death is death. And when people do die, regardless of age or color or creed or religion, you have to remember, death is freedom. They don't have to go through what we went through, You know, they're happy, they're free, they fly through the universe, baby. Cry. And so it's very important to understand how to deal with death in a way. The way I find that helps me. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about non-religion. I'm just talking about death itself. The way I deal with it is I embrace death. I embrace death. I celebrate people's death, I celebrate it, I don't, death doesn't hurt me. My mom, my brother, and my dad all died within 5 months of each other. And man, it strengthens me. I talk to them all the time. I say hello. And that's what people must realize with death. Let me ask you a question. If you, if you watching this now, you yourself watching this now, if you watching this, man. If you passed away tomorrow, would you want anybody to be unhappy or sad or disappointed over your passing? No. So if you wouldn't want anyone to be unhappy or sad over your passing, why should you be unhappy and sad over somebody else's passing? Now, there are, when it comes to death, there are different elements that you have to take into hand. And one element is your mum's death. Your mum's death or your dad's death can be one of the most traumatizing and evil times of your life if you don't know how to manage it properly. Especially with your mum. Sometimes your mum's death it could take 6 months, 6 years to never ever getting over your mum's death, which means you have to learn how to control it, baby. You know what I'm saying? Cry, yeah. How's your father? You have to learn how to control it. Don't let death hurt you, disappoint yourself, and then you pass it on to your relatives and your friends and let it intervene in your life. No, that's not how you deal with death. You deal with death by using the spirit of the dead person, their spirit. Yeah, and you say, right, mum, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do my room. I'm going to spray my house. I'm going to buy a car. And whatever you say, you will do because you're doing it with your mum's spirit inside you. Okay? Or your dad's spirit. You know, and your mum and dad's, it can be very difficult to deal with. And the thing is, nowadays, in this day and age, the media and the establishment, they never tell people how to deal with death. And that saddens me a lot. I mean, my program isn't about crime. My program's about everything. And that's why I'm touching on this subject. I mean, I'm making it to Dan, this is to him and his family, everybody else that attended that wake today. It was class. It was beautiful. Another thing you have to understand about death, I hate when people say, I miss my mum, I miss my dad. I'm like, well, why'd you miss them? Talk to them. People always suddenly think that they can't talk to the person in death. Listen, if you don't talk to them, they can't talk back. But if you talk first, everything they said to you, all their advice, will come back to you. Yeah? And that's how you treat a person. And that's how you keep their spirit alive. And if you don't treat their death with respect, if you don't treat their death with happiness and kindness and justice, then crash, then they've died in vain. And died in vain means, for those who don't know, means they've died for nothing. They've died and you're not using their death to help you move forward in your family and to be happy. Yeah, and then you're sad and angry and hurting yourself and hurting other people and hurting all other. And the reason it hurts more and it hurts their spirit more is because you're angry and upset over something which, no disrespect to you, you cannot reverse. You can't change. Yeah. So come on, man. Enjoy the ride. And another thing I always laugh at. You see death, yeah. Sometimes, a lot of people who are alive don't know this, but sometimes, if you talk to the one you loved who has died, yeah, long enough, just sometimes, you can become closer to them in death than when they were alive. Hello? 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 Cry, yeah? Come on. And that's why I'm doing this podcast now, just to, death is very, especially when a child dies. And this is one of the very hardest deaths to come through and to deal with. Because they're young, they had their whole life ahead of them, but you have to realize that billions and millions of people, babies, kids die every day. It's not just you, and millions of women either come through it or don't. You understand? And they move on, and another one produces, and they move on. And that's the way. It's difficult, I understand, but hey, as long as you use their spirit to strengthen you and help you and keep you happy, even though difficult, it's not hard. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, man. So, to Daniel North and his family, I know you left a brilliant woman, as the crowd and the turnout would testify. Oh, what brilliant turnout. And boys and women, ladies, everyone I met there, wasn't it good, brilliant. Wasn't it such a great wake. And, that's why I'm doing this podcast. I told you, my show is not about glamorizing crime. It's not about condoning violence. It's not about condoning drugs. Come on, man. It's about us. It's not about influencing you and influencing. No, I'm not about that. I'm just showing you how I deal with things. Yeah. And that's the way I deal with it. As I said, I'm very strengthened when my mum, dad, and brother died. Yeah, come on, man. And the hardest thing in my life, I'm going to be honest with you, was to tell my mum and dad at 97 and at 87 and 89 that their son of 56 had died before. Do you know how hard that was for me? I had to walk all the way from my house to the, mate, trust me, it was the one. Cry! And I've done many things, boy. That was the one. Believe. Christ, please receive. Try. Yeah, so, come on, people. But it was so great to speak to you there. So many people at that wake today said they looked at the channel, and I loved it because it would just show me old people, young people, Asians, black, whites, yellow, Indian, everybody watching the podcast with the fish. So, I am progressing slowly. I'm having things done. I'm starting to get better. It's taking slow, but hey, things are slow, I've been visiting a lot of people in hospitals lately, so, I've had to take my eye off the ball, but hey, that's life, man. Come on, man. But yeah, come on, baby. If you are unhappy or sad or gutted over someone's passing, then you're selfish because it's something which is going to come. It's going to, it's going to come. Sometimes there are times when you feel that you can't do a spirit justice because they tried in such a tragic incident. Maybe Grenfell, for instance. But for me, even with places like Grenfell, I always say, look, justice is not only served in a courtroom, it's also served in the mind. And it's up to each and every one of us individually, okay, to give justice to those who died in traumatic circumstances like Grenfell. I know some people think, compensation is justice, or, but sometimes we don't always get the justice in the way we feel that justice should be dished out. And so rather than hurting and waiting while we're hurting, we have to accept that we have to do justice to those who have died before they actually receive justice in the courtroom. So we have to give them justice in here before we can give them, justice before the court case or decision. You understand what I'm saying? At least that way you're not hurting, you're not sad, you're not, bringing your hurt and pain into other people and other lives, And I understand. Please don't mistake me, or please don't think I'm being disrespectful. I've had it. I've had my people shot and murdered. I've been there, but hey, I understand. Grenfell very hard, but hey, we're in the land of the living, and they are not, and we still have to respect them now, from now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, now, not just so we can bring them justice, but they can help us carry on with our lives in a happy and strengthening way. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm asking you all, or what I'm trying to achieve today. There are, I know, some sad, traumatized, believe me, and criminal deaths that happen that you think it hurts the mom, the dad, the kid, and the community as a whole, sometimes even the nation. But hey, we still have to march on. We still got to go through lives ourselves. And if it's going to hurt us, then it makes it a very difficult time. And we already have enough difficult times grieving, let alone having to grieve and deal with it. So this is only a short podcast. I just wanted to help. Hopefully this podcast, if it can help one person, I've achieved my goal. So crash out as your father, and ask yourself, I think I asked you already, but ask yourself again, if you died or passed away, would you want anyone to be unhappy or sad or disappointed over your passing? And when you are unhappy or sad over someone's passing, what you have to realize, the spirits of the person that have passed, they can't pass over to the other side because, Christ, they're worried about you hurting. And so they have to stay here and guide you and help you until you can snap out of depression, snap out of the hurt, snap out of the pain, snap out of the sadness, Come on, man. Do yourself justice and do death justice, okay? Okay, that was it for now. I'm sorry it was such a... Well, no, it's not a dreary topic. It's a topic that happens and it has to be spoke about. And I just hope that you don't mind me speaking about that topic. And I hope someone out there who's in trouble or needs help, I hope that they actually see this podcast, and I hope it brightens up your day, and I hope it makes you happy, and I hope you can now move forward with your life. So crash out as your father. You know the rules. And remember where you saw me first. Remember where you heard me laugh. Hit the button to like and subscribe to keep the show alive. Crash! Hello? 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 See you later. Crash!